Good morning and welcome to NFThesis. I'm going to dump some more ideas on you this morning. Yesterday we talked about mint passes and pricing. Today we're going to talk about multi-chain NFTs. If you are already buying NFTs, I'm sure you obviously know of Ethereum NFTs. You're probably aware of Tezos NFTs. Tezos is the most popular proof of stake NFT chain right now. They Otherwise the chain is pretty dead from what I understand. I don't really use it for DeFi, but NFTs really revitalized the Tezos chain. And I have some cool NFTs that I've purchased from there. So it is a really cool and affordable platform. The gas fees are extremely low. What's really cool is try Showtime .io will allow you to see all of your NFTs from Ethereum, Tezos, and Polygon. I'm not sure what else is integrated because those are the only places where I own NFTs. But that's really cool to see NFT chains or NFT website protocols, whatever, allowing for various cross chain NFTs. I know Rarible.com now also allows you to mint on Tezos. Once again, I haven't done it, so I don't understand how it works. I don't know if you're somehow minting Tezos NFTs using ETH or if it's a lazy minting, which, for those that don't know, lazy minting means that you create the NFT and the person who buys it will actually pay the minting fee as opposed to the artist. I see a lot of people saying that any NFT that's not on Ethereum is garbage. And I understand why they say that because CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and every big famous project you know of an NFT is probably on Ethereum. And a few of the famous things that you don't know about, I mean, a few of the famous things that you do know about that might not be directly on Ethereum, like Avagachi or Axie Infinity, these projects are still settling on Ethereum somewhere. Avagachi is with Immutable X. I mean, Axie Infinity is with Immutable X, and Avagachi is on Polygon. And both of those systems settle to Ethereum at some point. They are merely on a side chain to keep the game transactions very cheap and very low. And so gaming NFTs have been given a pass to not exist on Ethereum. But basically, any other NFT you create, you will get a lot of pushback from various communities. You're not seeing a lot of value in Polygon NFTs or Cardano NFTs or Solana NFTs. And part of that reason is because Ethereum is the OG and everybody respects those NFTs and knows that those NFTs will hold more value. I guess what I don't agree with is that that is going to persist into the future. I think that um, especially chains like Polygon, which are very integrated with the Ethereum system, those NFTs are able to be bridged back to Ethereum. And this has already happened with Avagachi, where you could take your Avagachi off Polygon and bridge it to Ethereum and sell it there. On Ethereum, Avagachis aren't as playable because it costs a lot of money to interact with your Avagachi. So you naturally want to keep anything that you're going to have to interact with a lot on Polygon or on some other cheap chain where you're going to be able to do microtransactions for pennies instead of tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars, depending on what you're trying to do. I think that in the long run, Ethereum NFTs will likely hold a lot of value in the future, and there will probably always be the OG NFTs, but most people are not going to be able to transact on layer one. This layer one transaction stuff is going to get way too expensive, and even artists that want to own NFTs on layer one are not going to be able to. You're going to have to be a whale to buy NFTs on layer one, and I just don't see that as a sustainable business model, because more and more artists are going to come into this space, and they're not going to want to pay all this money just to create an NFT that they don't know will sell. So you're going to see lots more people coming into the space, and they're going to be going to cheaper chains. And if you value that work, you're going to buy that work where it is, and not hold off because you don't like the chain that it's on. But I mean, that's not true. If you don't like the chain, you're not going to buy it. But I don't see these like narratives of hating a certain chain persisting into the future if all you're trying to do is speculate on art or buy an album by a musician you like. And unfortunately, more than anything, I think that you're going to see a lot of big companies starting to release on other chains, and people will go buy their Marvel NFTs on Solana or Cardano or whatever Marvel decides to release their NFT on. People are going to go get that, regardless of whatever their belief on whatever coin or whatever chain is. So I do see multi-chain NFTs as inevitable. I'm not endorsing any specific chains necessarily. I do think it's kind of weird that Polygon NFTs have been treated so poorly, because Polygon has been very true to the Ethereum ecosystem, and I don't see them doing anything differently. I don't see anything that would set a Polygon NFT apart from an Ethereum NFT other than being on Polygon. A lot of people don't like Polygon NFT because having such low transactions allows people to send you spam NFTs, and those are things you don't want to interact with. Those are things that could be potential scams, and that is honestly going to be any cheap chain. Anywhere where people can afford to send you something without it costing them much money, you're going to see that happening. I mean, even if you want to talk in the traditional world, how much junk mail do you get? You get a lot of junk mail because it's cheap to send junk mail. So that's going to happen on any chain where it is cheap to send things. You're going to get people dropping scam coins in your wallet and scam NFTs in your wallet. And on one hand, you could say, oh, this doesn't happen to me on Ethereum. Well, that's right. That's because somebody's not going to pay $25 to send you a scam unless they know you're going to get that scam and click on it. You know, $25 is a lot of money to spend on a potential scam. So I think that in the long run, we're going to see a multi-chain future. We're already talking about it being a layer 2 centric future, which means even if you don't like Polygon, you're going to end up buying NFTs on Arbitrum or Optimism. People are already buying on Immutable X, Polygon. It's just inevitable that people are buying and selling where they can afford to. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you can afford to release your project on Ethereum and you know that you have the backing, and then that's fine. But I think even some of the biggest projects this year are going to have a really ugly time next year when the gas just gets higher and higher. And so nowhere on Ethereum's roadmap does it say anything about gas ever getting any cheaper. Gas is only going to go up, which means NFTs are only going to be more expensive on layer 1, and that's just not sustainable. I have a feeling that we're about to see a lot of NFTs get locked on layer 1 because no one wants to buy them. The gas fee to buy them is going to be insane. So even if you could buy it cheaply, like I was saying yesterday, even if you could afford the NFT at the rate, even if it was a 0.01 and you really wanted this thing, you're looking at the gas fees being so high that no one will ever buy it from you. So you're really talking about being trapped with your layer 1 NFTs, and whatever you buy is probably going to sit there, and whatever you haven't sold is probably going to sit there. And you know, this is a whole other thing that I don't know much about, but they're talking about potentially having things being rescued from layer 1 to be able to bridge to layer 2s. This is way in the future. But the idea being that, you know, if you have some funds on Aave that you can no longer move because it's not cost effective, that there will be some way from the layer 2 to tap into that liquidity. And chances are there will be things like this for NFTs as well, if someone cares to build out that system. Otherwise, you're just going to have NFTs trapped on layer 1, and you're going to have people starting to mint in places where they can afford to and where their fans can afford to buy their art. Because, as I was saying yesterday, you know, the high prices really price a lot of people out. And maybe you have a lot of people who made a lot of ETH between 2017 and 2020, and those people are willing to spend a lot of ETH on NFTs. But you have more people that have just come into the space in the last year, and those people have not made a bunch of gains and don't want to spend all their money on gas fees to buy NFTs. As NFTs take off, you're going to see the prices lower, not raise. And that's because as more and more retail gets in, you're not going to have huge whales that are going to, you know, be fighting for the hot assets. You're not going to have new people coming in trying to get a CryptoPunk. Those CryptoPunks are going to get hoisted up, and they're going to get, you know, people who are already stuck with, you know, a CryptoPunk are going to end up stuck with it. There's going to be a point where you will only be able to sell these things at a quote-unquote loss, because maybe right now the market is saying your CryptoPunk is worth 32 ETH. But there comes a point where nobody's going to buy that CryptoPunk for 32 ETH, especially as the price of ETH goes up to 10K. I don't see it happening. Obviously, you're always going to have rich people doing rich people stuff, but if the space is going to grow, it's going to grow from the bottom, and that's not going to be a bunch of rich people. You're going to have people trying to buy things they can afford. You're going to have people playing games with microtransactions that they can afford, and you're going to have people buying NFTs by their favorite artists and their favorite musicians wherever that artist or musician plans to put it out. And especially once we move to the future where you start to see less of a need for things like MetaMask and things become much more integrated, and people don't know necessarily what's backing my NFT. People won't necessarily care whether it's on Ethereum or Polygon or Arbitrum or whatever. They're going to care that I own this asset and I can do what I want with it, and I'm able to sell it for a profit. I think in the long run, those are the narratives that are going to play out, not the chain maxi narratives. And like I said, don't get me wrong. I understand that Ethereum is the OG. Ethereum started all this stuff. And I think there will always be a large NFT community thriving on Ethereum. I just think that in order for the entire space to grow, it's going to have to be a more affordable ecosystem. And the way that that is going to happen is through a multi-chain future and buying your NFTs where you want to buy them. Yeah, that's this morning's NFThesis. And I hope you have a really great day. I'd love to hear more about what you think in the comments. And good morning.